Hey, fan shout outs. I'm going to do two because I like when people say hi to us and they're nice. On a variety on IG, Twitter, YouTube, etc. TV, say hi to us. Deborah checking in, avid FT fan from New Zealand. I don't know what time she got to the show, but whatever time. You guys say, love you, Deborah.
22 hours ahead.
Whoa.
Good.
Something like that. I don't know if that's right. It's something like that. It's like 20 hours ahead.
That actually
mean she's already. Does that mean she's already watching the game? Is she already watching the Dodgers-Cubs game? That's coming in 22 hours tomorrow. Is that not how it works? I'm not a traveler like you.
It means if you go there, you can fly from Australia and New Zealand to the States and be on. You can actually land before you took off.
The same day. That's neat.
The same day. Yeah.
Okay, one more for you. Angelo said in the comments after yesterday's show, since the Tigers didn't get Bregman, do you think the Tigers might still make it to the playoffs? Do you think they're screwed for this season? You can let me know. I watch the show every day. Doing a great job. And guess what? We're not going to answer that now, but we will answer it later because basically every guest today is relevant to a Tigers superfan. So stay tuned on that front. But let's start with a league discussion. We might be losing something very near and dear to our heart very soon. Let's charge the mound.
Charging the mound.
Evan Drellick has put out multiple articles in the past 24 hours. The concerning one for me, AJ, is that the robo-ump could cause an unexpected casualty, the strike zone box. So MLB had a presentation. Obviously, this is going to start this week where they'll test out the challenge system. You get 2 per side. If you're right, you keep it. And you can also say, ha ha, if you get it right. I made that up, but you can do that. So I'll have to give you a couple quotes on why the strike zone box might eventually get eliminated. This coming from MLB VP of Baseball Ops Morgan Sorty said the strike zone box that we display on broadcasts and our app probably is inconsistent with the way we currently do it with the challenge system. You take a lot of the drama and excitement out if the fan can see up front that the pitch was a strike. It sort of obviates the need for the challenge. Then there's a secondary issue, which is cheating. There are monitors, big screen televisions all over our ballparks that display the feed of the game, and it wouldn't be that hard if this box was up there for fans or anybody to yell to the players, right? That's not what we want either. So they said they're going to test out a few ideas. One idea is show the box, not show where the ball is. Option 2 is show the ball, but not where the box is. Option 3 is to remove some of the edges of the box. They said it's been done before on broadcasts, so the corners of the zone are seen, but not the entire box. And lastly, Sword said that on his side, in his world, people are frustrated by the box because it doesn't totally match the way that they evaluate umpires. It creates a perception among fans that the strike zone itself is a little different than it is. Okay, that's fine. But what does that have to do with the ABS system and what could be a part of our game?
First of all, there's a delay. There should be a delay on the TVs. It shouldn't be live. So, I mean, and you have to make that. You have to do this real fast, don't you? Isn't there like a quick window?
2 seconds. You
can't
basically.
Okay, so it's usually on like a 3 to 7 second delay. So, I mean, fans aren't going to be yelling. I mean, this to me sounds like they just don't want the box because it doesn't fit in their criteria of what's happening. And I also think it affects umpires because the umpires, if you talk to umpires, they'll say this isn't truly the strike zone and it's not perfect. So when they see it, and that's kind of what they said when they said, hey, this isn't how we evaluate umpires on this box. So how come we can't get the box on the TV that's the right one? That's a better question.
I like when AJ says criteria, not criteria. Makes me feel like AJ's in a happier mood. But
have you ever listened to Lee Ilya and his rant?
Yes, that's why you say it.
That's why I say it.
That's the accent.
Exactly what AJ said. I sat in the dugout in a AAA game in 2019, and we had an iPad that pitch would go in live, whack. Ooh, that looked like it was a strike. It's a strike. That's how fast it goes. Why can't we have that on the live telecast? Why can't we just get it right? And if you're worried about fans yelling, hey, challenge, 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 I get that. But how do you know that's not a fan from the other team watching the TV and go, hey, challenge, challenge, I got you. It's not happening that fast. Sorry, players don't hear fans that fast. Players can barely hear their team that fast. Like, you have to make that decision quick on your own. You can't step out and be like, oh, yeah. They told me to challenge that. No, players are going to make this decision on their own. Give it to the fans. And this is definitely because of the umpires. They started taking it away last year. I'm not sure, AJ, if it was Fox or not that took away. They kind of took the actual lines away. They just gave us like a little bit of a brighter area. They were trying to like sneak us on that one. They tried to sneak the big league players in April last year. Don't sneak. Don't sneak. Just be honest. Be honest. Put that box up. Let everybody see it. It's exciting. To me, it might even expedite the process a little bit.
Also, I'm not worried about feelings, AJ. I'm worried about entertainment and what people want. I freaking love the strike zone box. Please do not take it away. Even if it's a little bit different, that's fine. I can accept that. Taking away that experience for me, no. You gave it to me already. I've had it for years. You're not taking it away. And also, if you're worried about cheating, in addition to what Kratz said, okay, let's say you're at second base and you feel like you saw it well, AJ. What are they going to do? Prevent you from talking at all? What if you're like, let's go? And that means you should challenge it. And all right, that means you can't. Like, are we really going to police it to that degree? Should just say 1, 2. If they said challenge or not, then we move on, right? Like, they have a 2-3 second clock in their head, and it is what it is. You're going to prevent all noise in the stadium at any time. This just sounds
First
like
of all, the box,
hogwash.
It's all hogwash because the box doesn't even matter. And I love the box. I mean, the box for the umpire shouldn't even. It's not like you can see the box when you're up there hitting, or the umpire sees the box on like in front of them. You only see this on TV. Now, the key words were they were worried about cheating. So now they're saying, oh, there's a way to circumvent the delay, right? Well, take the box off in-house feeds. Only have it on TV because I think it brings something to the broadcast. I think when you can see that dot, you can see where that pitch hits in the square. I think that brings something to the broadcast because it's a visual help for fans. Oh, where was that pitch? Oh, it was down and away. And then they have now we have the capability to do the little tracer where you can see it move this way or it moves this way or it moves up and down, right? Like, this is all good for the fans. Aren't we about the fans? Isn't this game supposed to be about the fans? So when I watch a game, I don't know about y'all, but I like the box. I love the box. I think it brings something to the broadcast.
No, FT is about the fans. MLB is sometimes about the fans, often about the money, sometimes about feelings and PR. That's why we just say it like it is. I would love to hear why I'm wrong on this one. Like, of course, I would love to bring on Morgan Sword or really anyone with the league to talk this out because I just don't understand it. And I'm glad that you guys feel the same way. We'll ask Ken about it too. I'm confused. To me, it's an initiative. Hey, we've been trying to get rid of this for years. And Kratz, I'm with you. I think multiple broadcasts this year kind of softened it, graded out a little, made it less prominent. And I'm like, what? I think I remember texting you about it. I'm like, does it feel like you can't see the strike zone box as much anymore? What am I missing here?
I remember.
Yeah.
They were still having the dot up. You know, the dot, I like how the dot was, I think it was like an open dot if it was a strike and a closed dot if it was outside of the zone. But it just was like, I think I'm seeing a little brighter area. That's cool. Just put it up there. Especially I love it when, you know, Aaron Judge makes the last out of an inning and Jose Altuve comes up and like the box is like from here to his knees. And it's like, well, that doesn't look like the same box. I get it. It's not exact. But it's fun. It's a fun graphic instead of like 33% chance that this guy is going to get on base in this situation. Oh, now 93% chance that he's going to hit a ground ball. Like, I don't need all those numbers. I do like that graphic.
I mean, we're doing a poll right now and it's going pretty well. It's at least 3/4 that love the box. So they love the strike zone box.
It's like the first down line in football. It's not exact, but you know what? It gives you something to look at. For me, you know, they're like, oh, the yellow line isn't exact. Yeah, but it's close damn enough.
It enhances the experience. That is a perfect analogy. It enhances the experience. If you took that away right now from fans, that are watching football games, they would be heated. All right, so we'll talk to Ken about this. Yeah.
It's not as cool as the little glowing puck they used to have in hockey, though.
I loved that. No, I loved
it. Was okay.
But I get the other side.
And then it would go in flames. And then it would go into flames when the guy shot it really hard. It would turn into flames. That was cool. That was good job, Fox.
I did like the flames. I did like the extra velocity. Same extra velocity on the fastball. But the yellow line, that's not – referees aren't like, oh, man, like this is totally, it's totally going against what we need to do. No, the refs don't care. The refs are calling the spot. They're not looking at the yellow line or afraid of what the yellow line looks like compared to their spot.
Sometimes they should.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm missing on this one. So we'll talk to Ken. We got to talk to Ken about his article on Vladdy Jr., among other things, coming up next on FP. FT shout out, Mint Mobile. Say goodbye to the overpriced wireless plan that you're dealing with right now. You need to be treated better and you need to save money on your wireless plan. Starting at just $15 a month, Mint Mobile can hook you up with that. And, actually, we talk about money on this show a lot because it's a big part of our sport. So I feel like we know what we're talking about. We found the deal. Kratz. You still get everything that you want. High-speed data, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And the most difficult phone call is that first phone call. It's you. You're too expensive. I'm switching. No, don't.
I'm going to keep my number too. And we're not just talking about money. Like, we're not just going to try to save money and get a crappy product, get a crappy player when we talk about signing guys. Like, you still get the huge same network as you have. You just get to save money. So you really nothing is changing except for your monthly bill.
Exactly. Can you read the bottom of the screen for us, AJ? Can you see it?
Of course I can see it. I have perfect vision. Visit mintmobile.com/territory. Unlimited premium wireless 3 months plans for $15 a month. And I'll say this. You know what? Some of these teams have cellular bills, wireless bills. They could probably afford more players if they switch to Mint Mobile. Just saying.
That is a good call. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 month, 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month.
Oh, it's a good hundreds.
Call. New customer offer for the first 3 months only. Then full price plan options are available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. If you have a question for Ken, we're going to keep it tight today. We've got a few for him. We might get to one or two at the back end. So send it our way. And also, FT fam watching right now, let us know if you like this fancy little spring training footage we're providing between breaks. Inside Scoop with Ken Rosenthal. Oh, yeah, he is at spring training camp. So let's get into it right now with our FT Senior Insider. Ken, ABS challenge system coming soon. Quick question for you, and then you can obviously give us your thoughts on it. Do you like the strike zone box or not? 83% of our audience does.
I like it, but I also recognize that it's often inaccurate. And that's been a complaint baseball people have had for a long time with the K-zone. And if it's inaccurate, it just leads to false perceptions. It leads people to get upset that maybe shouldn't be getting upset. So from that perspective, while I like the idea, I want to see where the pitch is, obviously, it's problematic.
Agreed, Ken. But I love it on the broadcast, so I think that they should stick with it. By the way, how's the ranch? How's Glendale, the ranch? How is it today? Because it looks sunny.
The ranch is always
well.
nice, AJ. Very nice.
Well, you're on the right side. You're on the Dodger side. The Dodger side, people don't understand, has palm trees and all this stuff. The White Sox side, desert, has nothing but sun. You can't. The Dodgers has like pools and oases. White Sox side, nothing.
I don't know about pools and oases, but the Dodger side might be a little nicer. I can confirm that.
It is totally.
It's way nicer. There's little is a small statement for you, Kim. I'm just saying. Before we get into anything else, all right, I got to ask this because you are in Dodgers camp and they've signed everybody. Are they going to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. next year when he's a free agent too, and put Freddie Freeman in second base to try it? I don't know. I mean, what's going on there? They missed the deadline in Toronto. Where's he going to sign?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know. I would say that the New York team is both need a first baseman. There's been a lot of talk about Boston, which I sort of get because obviously he has talked about going there seemingly to his friends. But if Tristan Casas becomes a real player, maybe that's off the table. Now, then again, if Tristan Casas keeps playing general manager as he did yesterday, I believe it was, telling everyone where he thought the infielders should be aligned this year with Devers at third, Bregman at second, I am not so sure the Red Sox are going to want to tolerate that for too long.
Hey, Ken, I think Toronto is, and really Canada is fuming right now over them not being able to even really apparently come close to an extension. So what did you take of what happened the other day? I read your article about Vladdy Jr. I highly encourage everyone to check that out in The Athletic because it also gives a really good history lesson on this front office and how really the success was with Alex Anthopoulos' players in 2016 for the ALCS and Vladdy Jr.'s career actually kind of compares to Fernando Tatis in terms of timing, and you can get into this, but how they really missed the boat multiple times.
Right. Now, obviously, they could have corrected everything if they just gave him the right offer this time around. But basically, the point of what I wrote was that they had chances here. They had chances well before this. Now, if you remember, back in February 2021, that's when Tatis signed his 14-year, $340 million deal with the Padres. A lot of people, including myself, question that deal. That deal now is looking pretty good. And that was the same year. Guerrero, after that contract was signed, went off. He had his best year for the Blue Jays. And after that season, or even before that, they could have offered him the Tatis deal, right? Something similar. And at that point, he probably would have taken it. I would imagine he definitely would have taken it. So that was a chance. They had chances after that as well. And the history here is not great. Early on, they told the world that they planned to manipulate his service time. They were going to keep him in the minors. They didn't feel he was defensively sound enough. It was for his own good, all this stuff. He gets hurt. It didn't turn out to be an issue in that sense because he wouldn't have been available necessarily, but that was the plan. Then they take him to a hearing, an arbitration hearing in 2024. They lost that hearing. And there's this history of insufficient offers, or at least offers he deemed insufficient. And it's capped off by yesterday. Now, if you're a fan, you might say $500 million for a first baseman, even as good as Vlad Guerrero. That's ridiculous. No team should do that. But the point of what I wrote was that this should have been settled long ago, and he should have been extended long ago. So now AJ asks where he's going to go. People say, well, maybe it's Toronto. Maybe they come back to him. I guess that's conceivable. They can come back to him with a number closer to what he wants because they're getting a lot of heat, as you know. But the Blue Jays front office talks frequently about discipline, how they want to stay disciplined. Sometimes, actually often, that's a great idea. But when you've got a star player like this and you've got the Juan Soto deal there sitting at $765 million, the market's changed. And it seems like they had a couple of opportunities to react to that before even Soto signed, and they did not take advantage of them.
Ken, real quick, I want to go back to something you said. You said Tristan Casas played GM yesterday, which is fine. You can do that, right? But I said this last year on here, and I questioned this. Are they going to get tired of his antics if he can't play and he doesn't perform? Well, this is just another one on the list. So could this expedite his – I mean, he has to come out and bang this year, right, in order for the Red Sox to be like, okay, you can say whatever you want?
I would say when you talk like that, and listen, reporters welcome that kind of talk. We love stuff like this, right? We feast on it. But when you say things like that, like he said yesterday, you've got to back it up. You've got to be really an established star. And I think that was the issue that certain people had with what Cassis did. This guy really hasn't accomplished that much, if anything at all, in the big leagues just yet. He's a talented guy. He's done a little bit. He's going to be fine. He's probably going to be a pretty good player. But if you're going to talk like that, it's probably best to have maybe, I don't know, 10 years in, maybe a couple of MVP awards. It just isn't something that's normally done by a player with his lack of stature, put it that way.
When you wrote the article this morning, or posted the article this morning about the Brewers, you mentioned in there how they're top 10 in attendance. They are an organization that's gone from 233 million in value when Antanasio bought them to 1.6 billion. And yet, the gist of the article, if I'm not mistaken, is they're coming back spending this year after having a better team. Is it because of the fact that they won the division and they're like, we got beat by the sixth place team, so we can just slide into the sixth place spot? And you know what? It was a wash about making the money when we had 3 home games for the wild card series.
Right. Well, there's a lot going on with that story. And they were top 10 in attendance, or they've been top 10 in attendance since 2007, the cumulative numbers. They weren't top 10 last year, Eric, but the point is that they do this. They operate according to their revenues. They are a low revenue team and they don't have a big payroll. We all understand that. My question that I raised is, hey, this year you haven't signed a free agent for more than $1 million. You signed 3 guys. 1 was for $1 million. 2 were for less than that, and their salaries weren't even fully guaranteed. And you're doing that when you're coming off a division title and you had 3 home games. Now, what the owner, Mark Attanasio, said in a news conference yesterday was the money that you get from the wild card round when you get knocked out, as they did, is not consequential. It was like $1 million to $2 million. That's consequential to a lot of us, but to a baseball team, I guess not much. So that was one point. And then I actually did ask about, hey, because you got knocked out by a hot number 6 seed, is it a situation where maybe you just don't want to really go for it the same way when you know you can sneak into the playoffs as a number 6 and maybe have even better success than you've had? They've had 5 straight early eliminations without advancing. And Attanasio said, you go for the division title, you can't think that way. And I believe that is the case. I believe what he's saying is true there. His position is, we've got so many good young players, we're set. Well, they don't really have an answer at third base. He did acknowledge that you can always add to your pitching, and they should be adding to their pitching. That's the one thing that I don't quite follow. They could have been a team from the relievers out there, Kenley Jansen. They could still be a team for David Robertson or another reliever. And Jose Quintana is sitting out there. Andrew Heaney is sitting out there. Kyle Gibson, all still free agents. And I understand the Brewers are in a difficult financial situation compared to a lot of teams. We all get that. But in my view, and what I wrote here is, you're making it even harder for your front office. And at some point, that could catch up with you.
Agreed. Now you're at the ranch. You're in Glendale, Camelback Ranch, there with Dave Roberts. His contract's up. Aaron Boone, his contract's coming up here. Are they going to get the big bucks like a Craig Counsell? They deserve it. Listen, they're in huge markets. They've handled their teams unbelievably. So are they going to get the contracts they deserve, or are owners still going to say, "Oh, we can not pay these managers enough because the front office really does all the work anyways"? Because that's the way it looks from the outside with manager salaries, how they've held them down. Well, Craig Counsell kind of broke the mold, so these two are next in line.
AJ, it's an interesting point you raised there. And if you think about it, we were talking about Guerrero just a minute ago and how Soto changed the market for him. Craig Counsell changed the market for managers. Dave Roberts is much more successful than Craig Counsell. He's won 2 World Series. He has the all-time highest winning percentage for managers with 250 games of experience or more. There's a lot going on there that is really positive. Boone, not as much, but his winning percentage is second among actives. Pretty good. So I would expect that the Roberts contract will come in above Counsell, but it's not necessarily going to be an easy negotiation because you're right. teams don't value managers, and teams always point to contracts like Counsell's or like Soto's as an outlier. Well, just because that team did that doesn't mean we have to. Well, it's kind of not the way it works. And if Dave Roberts gets to the end of this contract without an extension, obviously there are teams that would want him. That said, all that said, I do expect both these guys to be signed to extensions by opening day.
All right, we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it in a sec. Ken, thank you very much. Enjoy the non-dark side of camp.
Enjoy the swimming pool, Ken,
side.
and the grape, and the ladies feeding you with fans and grapes. Enjoy that, Ken. Yeah.
Exactly,
when you go to the other side,
Thanks,
you ain't getting that.
Have fun. We'll talk soon.
I understand. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal back on Fair Territory tomorrow. Live session, 12:30 East Coast time is when that show begins. Let's stay here actually for a moment. Let's shock the system. We didn't get to talk about this the other day, and I wanted to bring it up too. Brian Cashman said there would be, a flood of activity if Boone was let loose and a free agent. And I do think, Boone gets a hard time sometimes from Yankee fans, Kratz, who are just used to the dynasty that the Yankees used to be and don't realize that Boone is just handling the roster that he was given, which often isn't perfect. It's definitely not Derek Jeter dynasty days perfect. So what's your take on this for both sides? We've touched on it, but I just want to give it a couple more minutes here, since I do think there is going to be this battle, which includes the league office trying to get manager salaries down. And the Dodgers are in this weird spot. Everyone's already kind of against them. They're spending a lot of money. It's a piece of cake for them to give Doc whatever he wants, but they don't want to keep rising the number up, because what if someone else crushes it the next couple of years? And then he's like, I want more than $10 million a year.
Teams that value it are going to pay for it. Teams that take a first-year guy, as a first-year guy, you're not going to get that much. And teams, I guess, can squash that salary just like they can, the minimum salary for players, although that's negotiated. To me, Boone, Roberts should both exceed what Craig Counsell's done or did. All three are in big markets. I think there's more pressure on the other two than there is on Counts in Chicago. But to me, you have to pay these guys if you think there's a value there. If you don't think there's a value there, hey, go roll the dice. Booney will get a job somewhere else. Doc will get a job somewhere else too.
Yeah. I mean, what is there to say other than, pay the guys. These guys are great. If Aaron Boone hits the free agent market, guess what? Every team that fires their manager this offseason is going to want Aaron Boone. If Dave Roberts hits the free agent market this year as a manager, every team it'll be a bidding war between Boone and Dave Roberts. Boone, Dave Roberts. Boone, Dave Roberts. I'm sorry. These two are two of the best in the game. You say whatever you want about the Dodgers roster, but they have to still finagle stuff. They have to, you have to get the rosters right. You have to get the players to understand what the front office wants. You have to get them to understand analytics. You have to communicate with these guys. And these two are two of the best at it. I mean, Aaron Boone stands up for his players better than anybody, right? And Dave Roberts is one of the best communicators. If you ever talk to Dave Roberts for 5 minutes, you understand what a great communicator he is. So, I mean, both these guys deserve a ton of money, and they deserve more credit than what they get, I feel like.
Yeah. I've sat in his office too multiple times for meetings, and you're like, yep, this makes sense. This is why this has been operating this way for a while so consistently, and why there's not as much drama here as there is in many other organizations. And he has talked about getting the value that he deserves. You should test that out. Not go to the free agent market, but don't settle, because the Dodgers have pressure in this situation too. They cannot let him walk. They're going to pay for all these players. They're going to do the excess of grabbing a reliever to cut another reliever who should be on a big league roster, right? Like the Yates for the Brazier. That's kind of the money difference in what it would cost to pay Dave Roberts per season. So it's no big deal for them. I think there's a bigger hand in play here where the league wants to keep the salaries down. I would not overlook that part. So we'll see what happens. But Doc should say, I get the highest paid and I get the most years, and nobody should flinch. We'll see what happens. All right, you can comment on it if you have a different thought. Otherwise, we'll be right back. We have fresh quotes from Ali Marmol on our own Cardinal territory. Quick reminder before we get into what we'll get into here for the YouTube FT fam, 11 a.m. Eastern time on Monday is when the show will begin for the rest of spring training. You're like, what? We do this every year. Spring training games start. We are now the world's pregame show. There you go. Set your alarm a little bit earlier. If you're on the West Coast, cool. We're now a morning show for you. Spring training games are mostly at 1 o'clock Eastern time, all of them in Florida, and then obviously later on in Arizona. So this fits not only for your viewing pleasure, but also for us to be able to still get players on the show in spring training. And we have a spring training tour that we are doing that starts next week. More details on that soon. Okay, let me bring up this little note from Carlos Correa on how they're switching things up. Your former franchise, AJ, is going to operate spring training a little bit differently. So they're expecting to take batting practice on the field much more often during the season. So they'll also receive more at-bats during spring training. Do you like these decisions?
Hell yeah. I was always a hit on the field guy. Now, there was certain guys I played with that just didn't want to do it. Nick Markakis was the first guy who I saw just never hit on the field. I know Shohei does it. But I was a big hit on the field guy, see where the ball goes. And yeah, you need a certain number of at-bats in spring training to be ready. I'm sorry, you do. People might say, oh, what does it matter? It matters. It matters. And like pitching, like Jordan Montgomery said, oh, I wasn't ready because I didn't get enough stuff in spring training. Well, guess what? At-bats for position players are fine. And it's not the same. I don't care if you go down to AAA or the backfields and you get 7 at-bats leading off. It's still not the same intensity as you get in a big league game. So I'm all for it. Now, I'm not saying they need to get 150 at-bats, but I always thought between 40 and 60, around 50-ish was pretty good, and I was ready to go.
Okay. I'm also being told that the week we're in Arizona, which will be our first week in spring training in Arizona during the FT era, we're going to be on at 1 o'clock Eastern time, because if you're doing Arizona, is it 3 hours back or 2 hours back right now?
It's going to be 3 when we're there.
It's going to be 3.
Or no, it'll be. Wait, hold on. Wait, spring forward.
Yeah, 3. It's 3. March 10th to the 14th is when the show will go back just for a week to the 1 o'clock Eastern time schedule, because we ain't doing a show in Arizona with players showing up all cheery at 8 in the morning. Good luck with that. So we're just trying to adjust to their schedules to get as many players on the show. So bear with us. Let's sizzle. All right, so we have some quotes from special guests on some of the FT Network shows that we're going to slice up. We'd like to get to Cardinals manager Oli Marmol and now special assistant to Andrew Friedman, Farhan Zaidi, who's back with the Dodgers. But let's start with Oli. That episode just came out this morning on Cardinal territory. And of course, Katie and Trevor Rosenthal asked Oli about Nolan Arenado.
He probably makes that a lot easier. So we can talk about him. We can talk about the veterans in the starting rotation. But
dude, I was worried zero, right? Like, I'm just being honest. He's a pro, so I know a lot of questions were asked leading into his arrival. Like, man, is it going to be awkward? It's not. Like, Nolan's a pro, and as soon as he walked in, like, it was business as usual. I mean, this is a guy that's a high competitor that makes other people great. So having him come back and walk through those doors was awesome, man. I was happy to give him a hug and welcome him into camp and get this ball rolling. But I think it was made a little bit more of a big deal than what it kind of turned out to be, especially within the walls, you know?
Hey, Ollie's job is to win. I mean, they didn't do anything for him this year. So, AJ, if Nolan gets the hitting back on track, it's good for the manager.
No, this was the perfect answer from Oli Marmol. Of course he's going to say it's not awkward because he needs him to be as good as he can if he's going to be there. So, yeah. Oh, is it awkward? Not at all. Did we try and trade him? Yes. Would we wish he had accepted the trade to Houston? Yes, but that's not going to solve anything. It's kind of the opposite of what happened with Rafi Devers, right? Like, Oli Marmol's like, we're going to make sure he's as happy as we can be. Meanwhile, the Red Sox are like, yeah, guess what, Devers? We don't really want you to play third. We want Bregman. We signed this guy. So, yeah, we're going to figure it out, but we're going to figure it out publicly. This is This is the complete opposite. And I'm sure, listen, does Nolan want to be there? I'm sure he does, but he also knows they're not going to win this year. So he probably would like to go somewhere else, but he can't get to the places he wants to go. So he's going to have to ride it out for a little bit longer. And Ollie Marmol, I thought, handled this perfectly because Dr. Phillips people always handle everything perfectly.
People don't know what you're talking about. They're like, Dr. Phillips? Does everyone go to the same doctor in Orlando?
No, but a lot of us go to the same high school.
That's what I'm saying. So now you know.
DJ Khaled! All we do is win, win, win. Yep, Dr. Phillips.
Ollie Marmol and DJ Khaled is an interesting combo.
Throw in Wayne Brady. Pooh, we go for 3 there in DP.
Johnny Damon,
yeah.
That's true. All right, I got one more for you. Ollie Marmol on his staff this year.
How is the staff this year positioned to start that next mold of next players?
The quick answer is that each one of these staff members is extremely passionate about teaching, and that's important. Like, that is where they find their why. Like, I love teaching. And you go up and down that list and they all feel that way. But I wanted to be super thoughtful in who we brought in and why we were bringing them in. And when you look at our staff, to your point, like, it's guys that love player development, that aren't just leaning on their playing experience to teach or regurgitate what they used to do, but they are truly seeking what's the best way to reach a player and with what info and drills. And it's just, the staff we have right now, I absolutely love them. Like, you watch these guys work. Even today, I was sitting there watching John Jay do outfield drills with our guys, man. And the relatability is there. The drill, I just feel really good about the direction where that's headed. Daniel's super relatable in how he approaches the game, and players and guys love him. Brant Brown, just a preparation maniac. We had a meeting today, and just the way he addressed the guys and what he finds important and how he's bringing the group together as one is awesome. So you want guys that are seeking out every single opportunity to maximize these players' careers, right? Like, can you cultivate an environment where these players will start to do things they didn't even think was possible? And when you do that right, it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Really, John Jay loves Jordans. He likes coaching. He loves Jordans. Yeah, this is what, to me, this is what the Cardinals have always tried to build. And if this is true, you know what? They're moving in the right direction because they have to connect with the players. They don't have somebody to lean on. They don't have a crutch of Yadier Molina. They don't have a crutch of Matt Holliday in his prime, of Lance Berkman, of all the superstars of Adam Wainwright. So these coaches that they brought in, the new guys that are in the org, even the last 2 years, they have to step up. And I said it 2 years ago at the beginning of the season that I felt like that's the department that needed to step up. And to me, it's a lot of young guys that can connect, young coaches that can connect with the players. Brant Brown was on here after he had gotten fired from being the offensive coordinator with I think it was offensive director or something like that, from the Seattle Mariners. And this dude's got energy. He's been with the Marlins. He's been with the Mariners. So can he teach hitting? We'll see. It's up to the hitters to hit. It's up to the coaches to connect and get the most out of them. So my biggest question is, what kind of background does Ollie Marmol have there? That's not like a real bat rack. That's like super set up. Is that the new Cardinals background for the rest of the year?
Like where they do interviews in spring training?
Yeah, because that's not a bat rack. Bat racks don't just have like an Owala and a jersey hanging there and like somebody's sunglasses.
It looked nice, though. I really liked that backdrop. I'm jealous.
Of course you did.
It's cool. Nice. But it's random.
Of course
It's not real. It's not real. It's like, it's a facade.
That's why Scott liked it.
Because it's a facade? That's me. I love facades. Speaking of which, you've got one behind you.
That's real.
Like that.
That's real. That's like a trophy case.
I mean, I can grab whatever you want. Oh, sorry, 1,000 MLB hit. You want to see that one?
Sure. You're saying that that it's a fake baseball? It's not even a real baseball?
No, I'm saying the background, it's all real stuff. They had one cleat in the background. Give me like
I
a
understand.
real
I'm just
background.
saying it's a mock setup of the dugout, just like
a
AJ's
mock
got the mock clubhouse kind of vibe going. That's all. I mean, it's aesthetics. It's pretty.
Mine's not
Different.
supposed to look like a clubhouse, Scott. Mine's supposed to look
No.
like a man cave, which you
Trophy
came
case.
in and destroyed.
It's a man cave with all of your baseball stuff in it. Whatever you want me to call it. But it's
Different.
nice. I appreciate it.
Well,
Meanwhile,
there's football stuff in here, but we're not allowed to talk about other sports. So I mean, we can't show that.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, well, sometimes we have a manager on and he's looking at his phone like this and all we get is a nostril. So I appreciate Ali for setting himself up very nicely. Farhan Zaidi, now he's got pressure. Let's see what his backdrop looks like. He was on Dodgers territory because he's back with the Dodgers.
Yeah, having had the pitcher and catcher kind of player review meetings a couple of days ago, this came up with a number of players coming back from injury, players who have the ability to start, but given the depth of the starting pitching, especially with Kirsch coming back, just the most recent addition and, one of the deepest pitching depth charts I think I've ever seen and certainly other people have ever seen. There's going to have to be some flexibility. A lot of these players we talked about in terms of getting them stretched out early in the season and then seeing where the team need is. Does the starting pitching thin out a little bit where you need guys to continue to get stretched out? Does the starting pitching look really good? And some of these guys may have to fill in the bullpen because obviously there's been conversation about some of the relievers maybe being a little bit behind early in the season, guys who pitched a ton last year and just wanting to bring them back steadily and make sure that they're put in the best position from a health standpoint. So I think as you look at this, it's just always a good idea to have a lot of pitching and to be flexible as that plan plays through. I think one thing from a strategic standpoint that you have to keep in mind when you're doing a 6-man rotation, especially early on when Shohei probably is not going to be a part of that, is you've got a 7-man bullpen, and that means you just can't match up strategically the way you would with a full pen and with pitchers more stretched out. So you might see more multi-inning relievers early in the season because you just need guys to pick up bigger chunks with a shorter pen and with the starters maybe not fully stretched out.
Wait, I might be messing up the math here, but don't they have the advantage with the Ohtani rule that they can still have the right number intact? Okay. So is he just talking about the beginning of the season until Ohtani
except if they have 7 starters? He's saying if they have 7. I heard it as if they have 7 starters instead of 6 would be, okay, you can still have the same number of relievers. But he was saying starters aren't going to be built up enough, plus some of their bullpen guys who pitched a lot, because none of their starters pitched a lot. Some of their bullpen guys pitched a lot.
So they're going to have a 7-man rotation? I thought it's 6. We don't know. Okay.
We don't. I mean, it all depends on who's healthy and who's not. I mean, they have 10. We named them the other day to Alana. They have 10 right now listed. 10 pretty good ones. So if they're all healthy, they're going to pitch every 10th day. I don't think certain people will be happy with that.
No, that would be a lot. I don't think Blake Snell would be happy with a 7-man rotation.
I don't think Blake Snell will be happy with 6-man. Blake Snell wants that ball every 5th day.
He does. That is true.
I think that's why it's going to be. But what's going to be interesting, though, is you have Sasaki, Yamamoto, and Shohei all have pitched in 6-man rotations a lot, right? Remember we had Joe Madden. He said one of the big problems they had with Shohei when he was in Anaheim was that they had to find a 6th starter because Shohei dictated they needed a 6th guy. And most teams can barely find 5. So, yeah, I mean, Blake Snell's going to want to pitch every 5th day. Glasnow, I mean, I don't know where Glasnow stands, but I would assume he'd want to pitch every 5th day. But you have 3 starters once Shohei comes back that are used to a lot pitching in 6-man rotations pretty much their whole career. So it goes back to Dave Roberts. How's Dave Roberts going to handle this? Because this is why he's going to get paid the big bucks.
You're right. Yeah, they have once a week, guys. So, hey, we have Tommy Kahnle in the waiting room, in the green room. He's going to join us next on
Maybe
Foul
Tommy
Territory.
can start.
No.
I think he likes the bullpen. FT fam, look at the screen. If you're listening later on, Erik Kratz is reading things on the Orgain shake that he's got. You want to just pick something out that you want to read for us?
best before no. Dairy-based protein, cacao, cocoa powder, monk fruit extract, no artificial sweeteners or flavors. Not even no sucralose. Like, and it tastes good. Like, seriously? I need to get different flavors. I stick with one thing that I really like, and I like the chocolate. So I'm afraid of trying new flavors. So I just keep ordering chocolate.
Yeah, I like the vanilla. I've gotten vanilla a lot as well, but I am with you. I'm a chocolate guy, and usually when I pick a favorite, I don't like to switch. So I mostly just stick to what I love. But if you're looking for more variety, including the bars too, because there's a little cookie dough action, there's brownie flavor, go check those out. You can use the code, and you're not going to get a better code. So FT's got it for you. It's 30% off your order. No quick fixes when it comes to your health. If you want more protein, give 30-gram protein shakes at Orgain a try. Head to Orgain.com/Foul30. Use code Foul30 for 30% off your order. It's the best offer that you're going to find, but you got to use the code FOUL30 at Orgain.com/Foul30. All right, I have to make sure this is real. Is this Tommy Kahnle, the Detroit Tiger, not the New York Yankee? Some of our guys were like, no way. He always ends up a Yank. I'm like, we'll see. We'll see. What's up?
Here we are. What's going on, guys? How's it going?
It's good. How's Lakeland?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, first of all, what's Lakeland like? Please tell me about the Joker Marchant Flying Tigers. Thank you.
Lakeland is way better than what it was when I was coming up in the minor leagues. That's for sure. They did a lot of renovations, I can tell you that. But
how many times have you been to Hooters? How many times have you been to the Hooters right there?
None. we're living in Tampa, so I make the trek, the 45 minute ride back and forth.
Great move.
It's not bad.
Why? Too much?
Oof.
No,
it could take you 40 minutes.
More
it
for
could
the
take
kids.
You 3 hours.
More for the kids here. Yeah.
Okay.
I heard they told me Lakeland not much out there. So
that is a fact.
And it's actually kind of cool. So when games are going on, AJ was telling me that when the guys that live on this side, they so when we have games against Yankees, Phillies, Blue Jays, he's letting those guys go get your work in at the stadium, and then you can go home after. So if you're not throwing that day, essentially, if you're not pitching.
Ooh,
so like you can go and get your work in when they play the Yankees. You can go to Steinbrenner, get your work in with the team, and then go back home.
That's correct.
Oh, that is so pro. Look at AJ's face. AJ's like, that's exactly how I would run a team.
Oh, nobody would ever have to make a road trip if you have more than like one day in the big leagues. I ran a team. Nobody wants to make a road trip in spring training. Although the one year I did, when I played for the Red Sox, I made every road trip because I did what you did. I would drive home to Orlando, but then I would meet the team. It was easier for me to go to Clearwater, Tampa, Dunedin than it was to stay in Fort Myers and drive up and back. So I could get nights at home. So I understand your pain, Tommy. The only pain you're suffering through, though, is I-4 traffic is a disaster. It took me over 3 hours to get to St. Pete from Orlando the other day. So
Yeah, that's
it's a
awful.
disaster.
Yeah. No, not good. I
Hey,
don't blame you.
Tommy, what happened? Did the Yanks call? And you were like, it's not you. No, they didn't call.
It's funny when you guys when I had that episode. What was the date? I don't remember. This off season, I knew
About a month ago.
Yeah, probably like a few weeks before that they were out.
You didn't
Really?
tell us? And you
No,
didn't tell us?
Tommy?
I wanted to keep it funny. It was funny because you guys were all like, "Yeah, you're going back. You're going back." I was like,
That's not funny. That's not funny. That's not funny.
It's only
This
funny
isn't-
to you. It's only funny to you because you knew it. The rest of us didn't know.
No.
I think it's
Scott.
funny.
I think Scott had a good. He knew. He knew.
I knew
then-
it wasn't happening, but wait, what happened? So, because
Yeah.
is that normal? They called and they're like, "You're going to get a better offer elsewhere." So, see ya.
Pretty much. I mean, they basically came back, and before anything really started to pick up, they were kind of like, "We don't think we can meet your numbers." So I was like, "All right, well." They didn't even. I feel like they didn't even try, to be honest.
Wow, well, good for you. You got a lot, but I got to ask you this. I mean, you have your Eagle shirt on, which is tired, by the way.
That's
Kratz
right.
is- Kratz
Kratzy's
is
loving it
tired,
right
too.
now.
Oh,
I told
my
him I'm
God.
back. I'm in.
Have you worn that? Have you worn that every day? But besides that, I have a calendar. I don't have I had a calendar here somewhere. I'll look on my phone. So, what's the over under on when we should expect you traded back to the Yankees? I'm saying around July 4th. We can move the date up or down because I mean, even when you sign with another team, you end up going back to the Yankees. So, should we put like an over under on when you're going to be traded back?
I get it. Recent history says, that I always end up back there, but this team's cool, man. I've had a great time. I've only been with them for a week. This is a fun team. They got a lot of talent. I could see it. And AJ Hinch is unbelievable manager. I've only known the guy for 2 weeks now, and I could tell he has one hell of an approach to this game. And I think it shows why they went on one hell of a run last year and did some damage in the postseason.
I want to go back to the Yankees before we celebrate, the fact that the Eagles are Super Bowl champs for
That's right.
the entire year and probably again next year because they're bringing a lot of the dudes back. But the whole, I just never got any calls from teams, so I don't know what it's like for somebody to say, hey, we don't want you. Would you say you were their second best reliever last year for the Yankees?
I mean, I don't know. Well,
How do they not have? How do
Well,
they
you
not
tell
have
them.
$8 million for you? In my opinion, I thought you were more in the 2-year range again because you show that you can be out there and you show that you not only threw significant innings, but you threw significant innings in the playoffs. Was there any pushback? Like, are you sure? Did you hear how much I'm looking to get? Like, they knew you were going to cost too much? Like, wouldn't that make them say, well, actually, he was super valuable. We should offer him that much.
Yeah, I mean, I know we were looking for a 2-year deal. It just seemed like the market was really slow, and I'm not going to say I was a little antsy. I know family-wise, we were definitely, not looking to continue waiting. And the Tigers were actually one of the first teams right in it, and they seemed like they were super intrigued and super invested in me pretty early on. And they were one of the teams that actually wanted to offer early. And I was trying to hold them off, but eventually I just, there's stuff that I could have done. They seemed like a great group of guys. I had conversations, with Scott and AJ, a lot of the pitching coaches, and it just seemed that what they were doing was the right thing. And I loved how they finished the year last year. They were in the playoffs. They made a deep run. They were one game away from playing the Yankees. Me. So, and I know we actually struggled when I was with the Yankees last year against the Tigers in 2 series. So it's a pretty good team. They're a well-rounded group, and I think we're going to do some damage this year.
Tommy, first of all, before I dig into this a little bit, I noticed you're not wearing your Notre Dame shirt, but that's too soon probably. I'm glad the Eagles won, but you're not wearing your Notre Dame shirt. But also on this show, we call AJ Hinch because he's the other AJ, because obviously, yours truly. So we
I
have
got
to.
you. Yeah.
Sometimes you're saying this, and I'm like, wait, you didn't call me. I don't understand. We didn't talk on the phone.
We
to
call
figure out where to
Scott
sign.
Harris.
Scott, I know, but he
Oh,
keeps
that's
saying
right,
AJ.
that's
So
right.
I'm like, oh wait, what did I do? But I got to ask you this: when you went over to the Tigers, your first bullpen session, do you just go on and throw 57 straight changeups, and then at the end just dot one fastball and say, "That's it, guys, I'm done"?
No, I mean, it was actually funny. The first meeting we had as pitchers and catchers, it's funny. AJ Hitch called me out and goes, we brought in this guy who's throwing 61 straight changeups in a postseason. So, they know what's coming, and they still can't hit it. So it was cool that he called me out like that pretty early in the meeting. So. But first bullpen, I think I definitely sprinkled them in there. I think I only threw like 3 or 4 though. I don't want to give it away too early,
Well, I want to go to your live BP because coming to a new team, you said, you watched these guys last year, you saw them in playoffs, all this stuff. Did you dominate? Because it's kind of a 2-part thing, depending on your answer. Did you dominate the hitters that you faced in live BPs?
So I haven't done live yet. I'm still in my
Okay.
bullpen. Yeah, I'm the slow trajectory guy.
Yeah, you're
Which
just
like.
a vet.
I like that.
You don't. Yeah, you're a vet. You're going to get 5 or 6 innings in the games. Okay, but when you do finally face some of your teammates, your Riley Greens, your Spencer Torkelson, your Colt Keith, when you face these guys, since you're on a new team, if you dominate them, are you like, oh great, these guys suck? Or because you're now, they're never going to hit this year. Or do you kind of like give them, just not give them your best so that they can feel good about themselves? Or would you rather strike them out and be like, I can hold that against you the entire year?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with I'm going to try to strike you out in lives. That's for sure. And then hold it over.
But then they think you think that they suck then for the rest of the year. And will you strike out GT, your one teammate that's coming over?
That's if I face him. So I don't know who they're going to give me. We'll see. If he's up, yeah, 100%. I might try to throw him some sliders. I'm not going to lie.
Stop.
Whoa.
You can't be making
It's not a good pitch.
I would hit
but I want to do it.
I would hit a dinger off of you, by the way, because you're only fastball changeup. I can't hit a slider, and you don't have a good slider, so there's that.
It's okay now. It's better.
Yeah. I didn't even know you had a slider.
It's not great. Come on, just be honest.
It used to be way worse. Actually, I've been getting a lot of good compliments the last couple of years about it. We just don't throw it at all.
Prove it. Use it in the game. I don't think Austin Wells' fingers work that way. He can't do this. He's like,
it's a button now.
So that button was
remember,
broken.
he's got it right here. Button's broken. No, he was solely changeup. That's all I'd ever hear in my head. Eventually, it would drive me a little crazy, a couple outings here and there, but
Didn't you tell him to just turn it off and you guys can do something if you're going to just suddenly throw a fastball? When you went through the 61 straight, you had to hear changeup in your ear every single time.
Every time. It gets old pretty fast.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't, because you were getting everybody out. It didn't get old at all.
You are right.
It didn't get old until Shohei missed a homer by about yay high. The 60 before that weren't old at all because you were punching tickets. You were getting weak contact. Trust me, you were like, another changeup? Oh, here comes another out. Yes, please. Thank you, Austin.
Yeah, bad location to Shohei.
How hard is it?
One back now.
I know, but I want to know this, like honest answer, because I've never really asked a pitcher this. But were you amazed that no hitter just went up there and said, "I'm just selling out for changeup"? Maybe some tried.
I think they do. Yeah, and they just, I don't know.
They don't.
I mean, it must be that good because they were asking me on this show, Kahnle's thrown 52 straight changeups, and I was saying, at some point, somebody's gonna sit on one. And you're going to make a mistake, and obviously it happened at the wrong time with Shohei. But I just can't imagine. And then in my head, I was like, but you don't want to be the one that he blows the 95 by, because then you look like a fool. So you're always ready for that. And I'm like, no, dude, if I'm hitting off Kahnle now, which you'd punch me out because I can't hit anymore. But, I mean, I'm like, 85 changeup? That's like my bat speed. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll serve that to left.
I don't know. I think it's got to do something. I've heard a lot of things here since I came over because they were really interested to see me up close throwing it. And after the first one, a lot of the pitching coaches were like, "We kind of see why hitters have a tough time seeing it now." It's my arm speed has always been the same as my heater with it, so that's definitely one big obstacle I think hitters have to overcome is that arm speed of my changeup is the same as my fastball. So I could see why it's not as easy to pick up, especially I guess if I'm coming with 95, which I don't know if I got that anymore, but you give me some props on that one. It's true.
That ball would go 450 feet. Don't even. AJ would hit a dinger off of that poo changeup of yours. All right.
I don't know.
We got to go. We got to go to one of your.
One.
We got to go to one of your old. All we need is one. All I need is one. Got to go to one of your old teammates, Stroman. Did you see what was going on with Stroman not showing up to camp, but he technically was allowed to not show up? How do you see that as? Okay, like you were his teammate. Like, how do you view that if that was your teammate right now? And how do you view that as? I know Stro. This is how I feel about it.
Yeah, so obviously being with Stroman last year, I'm not surprised by it. I mean, I know the guy's a competitor. He definitely doesn't want to go to the bullpen. I mean, I don't blame him. You're paying this guy almost close to $20 million, and you want to put him in the bullpen. Kind of, in my head, doesn't make any sense. But I know they got a few starters there. They're gonna battle it out. It's definitely a tough situation. I mean, he showed up a couple days after the report date. It's you could look at it as a bad way, and in terms you're not him. You don't know what's going on in his head. It's a tough situation, I think, for both sides. I mean, I know he wants to pitch, he wants to start. That's just who he is. I know it was tough for him maybe last year, not being able to even, get into a game in the postseason. I know he loves competition. Like, this guy is a gamer. And I know that it's definitely tough to see, it's a friend and what he's going through. So it's a tricky situation, obviously. And I hope for the best for him. Obviously, I'm always going to be on the player's side. So I know, and obviously you said we don't have to show up, which is true. I've heard actually from a few sources, Zach Greinke used to kind of wait until that last day to show up. So we don't have to report until I think the 22nd or something like that.
Yeah.
So this is all voluntary. I think I found that out last year, and I was like, wait a minute, what? I've been doing this the whole time?
Well, can you tell us any of those things? Yeah, definitely. Everybody's like, wait a minute, I didn't know it. I didn't know it until this year. So you learned it before I did. But what were the words that Stroman, because you said he's a friend, in the playoffs last year, how do you know? Like, obviously guys want to pitch. But did he come down to the bullpen with you guys when he was active? Did he say anything like, yo, I should be out there. Yo, I should, like, what were some of the conversations that you had about not pitching in the postseason with him?
Yeah, I mean, so he was down there obviously with us in the postseason. He was active. I forget which series. I know, I believe the DS maybe. I don't know. I've already forgot. I'm trying to put last year behind me, but yeah, he. I feel like it's just like, if that was me, I would definitely be a little, obviously upset. But obviously, he's also pulling for his teammates. He's always been a team guy. I mean, I know there's been a lot of things on the outside where people kind of, maybe he rubs people the wrong way, but I have no issue with him. I loved being his teammate last year. I thought he was awesome. He's a great dude. He takes care of the young guys. I mean, I got nothing but great things to say about Marcus. He was awesome. And it just sucked to see, a guy like that who's played that long and just, we finally getting there and not getting a chance. It kind of, I feel like that would weigh on me. And I know he definitely wants to be, there's my wife dropping stuff into the sink. I feel like it's tough. It's tough to be there and just watch and feel like you're not helping the team. It definitely, that's a sucky situation.
All right, I got one more for you on my side. The Tigers went hard after Alex Bregman. I mean, they made the biggest guarantee offer. I loved what Harris said to the media, like, hey, we want dudes that want to be here, the whole thing. So what did you think about it? How come you weren't involved in the recruiting? I felt like you could have helped. And now do you feel like it sparks up the Tigers-Red Sox rivalry a little bit this coming season? He chose Cora instead of Hinch, the old buddies.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that it came down to the Red Sox and the Tigers for Bregman, obviously having both managers. So I thought that was pretty wild. He ended up choosing Boston. I don't know reasons why, but obviously all of us over here were definitely very willing to have him over here. I don't know who was possibly recruiting him or doing anything, but obviously I would have loved to have Bregman here. All I've ever heard is great clubhouse guy, obviously tremendous player on the field, just won a Gold Glove at third base. So, I mean, he's always ranked. So, I mean, just losing out on a guy like that kind of sucks. But, you go back to the drawing board, and I know the Tigers are very comfortable with the situation at third. They got plenty of guys that are young kids, and, we got some veterans here it's sprinkled in and can help these kids along the way.
All right, Tommy, before we let you go, over your left shoulder, this is your left shoulder? The one that cord's on.
Yeah.
There's a Valentine's Day balloon. Is the reason why your wife is dropping plates during your interview is because that's all you got her for Valentine's Day? Was that deflated balloon and then it's up on the ceiling? Is that all you got your wife?
So actually, that was a gift to my daughter from Chad Green's wife.
That's cute.
Okay. Okay, that's cute. I was going to say, if it's from a boy, it's too early. You need to go find those parents and be like, listen, I don't know if you see me in my tight pants, but I have big quads.
No, we're pretty basic on the Valentine's Day. I got her a nice thing of flowers, big thing of chocolate, and she gets me usually like some kind of dessert and some Sour Patch Kids. It's my favorite.
There you go.
Sour Patch Kids are delicious, but Bregman's 0 for 3 against you, so you're fine with him not being on the team. Like,
wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, you've dominated him.
You threw him 3 sliders. You got him out all 3 times.
I did strike him out on the slider. I struck him
No,
out
you
on the
didn't.
slider. Go back and watch. I know that.
I'll go back and watch it. That slider is poo. It was probably a splitter that stuck to your middle finger, and you were just
You
like,
know what the best part about that? Romine called a changeup. I didn't know this and threw a slider.
This is why we have the earpiece now, okay? You are the reason. You are the bullpen guys that give me nightmares still. AJ knows. He's not even looking right now. He knows that is the worst thing you can do to a catcher.
At least it was the off-speed pitch. Could have been a fastball.
Yeah, true.
That'd be way worse.
True. Heater's way worse. If I got to get a heater up and I'm looking for something off speed, that's when the umpire gets dotted. Terrible. Go Birds.
Well, this was incredible.
Go Birds.
Great.
All day.
Oh, yeah. Go Birds. Go ahead. You get last word, and then we'll go to break. Tommy, whatever you want to say about your Birds on the way out.
Kratzy will love it. I bought a Jalen Hurts jersey. I did it.
Wow. He's in.
And my daughter. I also bought my daughter a Jalen Hurts jersy. It's on the way.
You are such a front runner. Like
No,
2023 you would pick a fight with you. 2023 you would see you in the stadium, and go, "Hey nerd, Hurts isn't that good. The only good ones are Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. That's it." That's what you would have said.
I'm not even on Josh Allen. I never liked him.
So it's just Pat. It's just. Mahomes,
I always thought Pat Mahomes, yeah. And then we made him look like a child. So hey.
Yes,
yeah, we
Facts.
did.
Facts.
Wait, did you play?
Good.
Did you? I got asked.
Yeah,
Did you
we
play
did.
in the Super Bowl?
We did. Sure did.
Oh, we did. Okay, I was just wondering because we played. I didn't know we played. I didn't know if you had a mouse in your pocket or what. But it's like when you were like this year when you Tigers make the playoffs and all the fans are like, "We did it!" And you're like, "You ain't throw no sliders, bro. Look at my elbow. I threw all these sliders."
Can't wait to start using this slider. Kratz, I'm coming for you.
Oh, it's gonna hit all the
Ooh.
headlines. All the headlines tomorrow. You know, you open up the Athletic. We have Cody
Ooh.
Stavenhagen later. He's gonna be like Tommy Kahnle's secret weapon. It's gonna be
coming.
great.
By the way,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're coming to Tigers camp, but I mean, we're supposed to.
Ooh.
We could set that up. I mean, we could set it up. I'm supposed to face Grayson on Monday. I'm going to take him deep. I'd come take you deep, and Kratz can strike out off you. We can set that up easy.
Look at this man.
I ain't striking out. 450
Oh.
dead center.
All right. Well, stay tuned, FT fam. I don't know what our spring training schedule is, but maybe we'll see you in Lakeland. Otherwise, we'll catch you again in a few weeks on here, Tommy. Appreciate you, man. This was great.
Thanks, boys. Always. It's amazing.
Always fun. See you soon.
See you.
Tommy Kahnle with us on FT. What's our spring training schedule? So Monday, you're in Baltimore, or not Baltimore. You're in O's camp in Sarasota.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pitt.
Mhm.
Then we're going to Bray downtown.
Yep.
And then
then
if
Wednesday
Steen gets
is-
back
No, I
to us.
have it.
Is Wednesday Yankees for sure? Do we know that?
Maybe.
Not for sure yet,
So-
but hopefully, yeah.
Next week, it's Orioles camp, Pirates camp, maybe Yankees camp, Cardinals camp, Mets camp. Week after, Blue Jays camp, Nats camp, Astros camp, Phillies camp, Rays camp. Then we've got our Arizona week, Dodgers camp, Rangers camp, A's camp, White Sox camp, D-backs camp. Ooh, then the week after. Oh, maybe don't say the week after yet. But it looks like not solidified that week yet. We're doing our best.
Mm-mm.
We can still hit some
Last week
teams.
isn't
We can still hit
confirmed
some
yet.
teams.
Last week isn't confirmed, but we'll be on the road, and it could be a little Lakeland action. So stay tuned. We'll post that schedule
Home game for
at some
AJ.
point.
AJ might
I'm
get
not gonna-
dressed in his uniform.
I'm gonna be out of town that week. I'm gonna be remote, so I'm missing. Son has a tournament. Sorry, I'm remote that week.
You know who we have that last week?
Twins, Red
Phil
Sox,
Cam,
two
maybe.
of my former teams, and Braves.
maybe.
I mean, we got Twins, Red Sox, Braves, three of my favorite teams. I mean, where are we
Well,
hung out?
unconfirmed, just rumors.
Unconfirmed. Okay, just
Spreading rumors.
nasty rumors like
I like
Ken
it.
lies about.
I like the possibilities.
I do too. All right, coming up next, there's a spring training survey that is put out by Jason Stark. He kind of unveils it in 3 sections. We're going to go over that first section. He asks a bunch of executives and scouts about the offseason and about spring training. In the weeds, the Athletic Spring Training Survey. Jason Stark talks to executives, scouts, coaches, 32 total polled. All right, let's go over a few things here. First of all, let's start nice and easy. Most improved team. He said it's the first time that the most improved team was the team that won the World Series. And this, he went NL, AL. So let's go NL first, talking about the Dodgers. He's puts in quotes from the execs. He's like, one exec was like, what are they going to do with everyone? Like, what if everyone is actually healthy? It's going to be awkward. So the Dodgers
Load
won.
management.
Then what are they going to do?
Load management.
That's right. They are. They already do that. So they'll do even more of that. Dodgers, Mets, Cubs, Diamondbacks, and then Reds were the top 5 that received votes for most improved National League teams. Let's show AL as well, and then we can chat. Most improved AL, one exec said, it's honestly tough to come up with 3 and pointed out how there's a massive difference between the AL and the NL right now, which was the case last year. But the Red Sox won this pre-Bregman signing, so probably would have received even more votes. Yankees second, Rangers, A's, Tigers, Blue Jays. I'm sorry, I know it seems 50-50 on this, but I don't think that the Yankees are improved. If you want to make a case that they're in a similar spot, that's okay. I have a hard time seeing them improved based on their offseason. That's me.
They got a more athletic person to get Judge out of center field. They got the best closer in baseball. I mean, I guess Clase was better last year, but they got the best closer available by far. And they haven't lost. Yeah, obviously you can't make up for Soto's offense with this, but Max Fried is a bona fide number 1. He's not their ace, but he's a bona fide number 1 to add to the rotation.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think what they did, I think Goldschmidt will improve their defense. I think another year where Jazz, if he's at third base, another year of Jazz at third base. I think Devin Williams is going to solidify their bullpen. They can put Weaver in a setup role. I love what they've done. I just think that, I think they're improved, but I still don't think they improved as much as the Red Sox even before because you had Crochet, you had Buehler, you had some of the other things that the Red Sox have done. Now you throw Bregman on top. I agree with this. My bigger question is I thought the A's would be third in this because of some of the signings that they made over the Rangers, but we'll see how it plays out. In the National League, listen, National League, the Dodgers improved and the Mets improved. I mean, but seeing that the Dodgers improved the most that they won the World Series just shows you how much better they are than everybody else as an org.
Exactly. Right. They won last year at a time when they should not have necessarily won. We've talked about it many times. I mean, they almost got bounced by the Padres, but the Padres choked in that situation. Free agent signings. So here's the fun part. Best and worst have a lot of crisscross. Best, Roki Sasaki. That's obvious. He costs nothing. Corbin Burns, then Pete Alonso, then Juan Soto. Worst free agent signings. Here's the top 5 according to this poll. Soto, Fried, Severino, Scherzer, Boyd. AJ, thoughts?
Well, I mean, listen, depends on how well Juan Soto ages for me, for the best or worst. I mean, obviously Suzuki's the best. Corbin Burns, great for the Diamondbacks because he didn't cost them an arm and a leg. Pete Alonso had to go back to the Mets, but to me, the worst is more interesting. Max Scherzer on a 1-year deal to the Blue Jays, how is that a bad deal? If he comes out and he's healthy and he pitches, even if he's not the Max Scherzer of all the Cy Youngs and the first ballot Hall of Fame guy, if he just gives them 25 starts and is very effective, or he gives them 15 starts in the first half and they can trade him and get something if they're out of it, I don't know how this can be even close to the worst. I mean, Severino, the A's made his move. We should be applauding the A's, not saying it's bad. I don't know. The one to me that's the most interesting will always be Juan Soto because we got to see how this goes.
Yeah, well, the consensus was great short-term, awful long-term. That makes sense. So it just depends what kind of person you are. You don't
know what's going to happen in 15 years.
10 years from now. Who cares?
Who cares?
That's my thing.
I don't care.
No way. You have a cornerstone to build around, and when you already had a cornerstone in Lindor, those two dudes are going to play for a long time, even 6 years from now. Your front office could look different. Your prospects are going to totally look different. You haven't even drafted dudes that are going to be in the big leagues in 6 years yet. And Juan's still going to be in his prime. So who cares?
I'm with you. All right. 2 more that I want to bring up here for verbal mentions that are more funny. This was not an official poll, but he got 1 vote for someone who wanted to bring up most confusing trade. An executive was like, why did the Blue Jays trade for Miles Straw to eat most of the 2 years, close to $15 million left? I know there's some money that came back to gather money for a player that they didn't end up getting. They were like, they should have done that once the player said, I'm coming over. Obviously, we don't know everything behind the scenes, but I'm not going to give benefit of the doubt to the Blue Jays right now. They are valuing players differently. Watch yesterday's show for more info on that fun little quote shot at Vladdy Jr. for no reason. And then lastly, least recognizable team was epic. Really, really good battle. But AJ, you might be a fan of the worst team in baseball last year and the worst team in the AL this year, but the Marlins actually won as the least recognizable team. The White Sox finished in second, Rockies third, Rays finished in fourth. The little note that Stark provided was no one who got more than 2 plate appearances or pitched more than 1 1/3 innings in that wild card series for the Marlins 2 years ago remains on the roster.
Well, here's my thing. I agree. I can't name. We tried to do this the other day. Name 5 Marlins. Not name Sandy Alcantara and Perez. Name me 5 other Marlins. We played this game, didn't we? We barely could do it.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, the White Sox
got more than 5.
Yeah, it took all 3 of us, though. It took all 3 of us and producer lady in our ear to give us some cheat codes. So, yeah. But, I mean, the White Sox, to me, are a little bit more recognizable because they have Benintendi, Andrew Vaughn's been around, Luis Robert, obviously. They have some names that have been a little bit around. The Marlins, they don't really have anybody, like you said. And the Rockies, nobody pays attention to them. So, how the hell? I mean, Chris Bryant, who is rarely on the field, and then Ezekiel Tovar, after that, it's like, I mean, you have to really dig in. We watch baseball. But I'm saying we watch baseball every day. I'm talking about the casual fan that turns on a game. They don't know who these guys are. They don't know who these – and that's just the way the organizations are set up. It's not a knock on the players. It's just the way the organization is set up.
I know he's been out for a year, but Sandy Alcantara is a name. He won the Cy Young, but it's been a minute since we've seen him on the field because he's coming back from surgery.
I said I give you him and Yuri Perez, but don't now name me 4 other ones.
If we hear about Sandy Alcantara when he gets off to a strong start, if we hear about him getting traded, there has to be some type of grievance of some kind. I'm not saying that they have to keep him. I'm saying he's the only one. If you look at his contract, it's super team friendly for who he is and what he can be. But if they talk about trading him, I'm going to be irate because this team has to be made to do something. Has to be made to do something because people are going to turn these teams on. They're going to see that the Marlins are on, and they'll be like, I don't want to watch this game. And it's bad for the sport.
It is, but they're doing the scrap it down and build it back up. Orioles, Astros style. Cubs did it back in the day. I don't agree with it, but that is what they're doing, and I think Sandy will get dealt if he's good.
They've scrapped it down way less. They've scrapped it down way more than any other team ever has. I'm sorry.
No, dude. I disagree with that. I hate the process, but Houston, Baltimore, those teams were atrocious.
Houston, I played against Houston in 2013. Their awful year. I mean, they had Rick Ankiel still was on the team. Bud Norris was still there. I mean, Altuve was there. I mean, they still had some people you had heard of. The Marlins.
I'm just saying.
Without Alcantara. I'm saying.
Right. Without Alcantara.
There was still some veterans that you had heard of on the Astros that year. Trust me, I played against Jason Castro was there. There were some people that were there but the Marlins are just, this is a completely different animal than what the Astros did. I'm sorry.
Orioles had nobody.
Orioles had Adam Jones, Chris Davis, and all those guys still around.
No, but then Jones was gone, right? He eventually went to the D-backs, then went overseas. I think only Davis, but he wasn't really playing towards the end of that deal, right? I don't know. We can do a deep dive on that at some point. Yeah. Best tank of the 21st century. Might be a fun segment. If you're into it, let us know. We got a break because we got Cody Stavenhagen waiting for us coming off spring training. So we'll talk to him. Astros?
Well, they did the best.
By far. By far.
They did the best, but who just absolutely scrapped it down? To me, the Marlins
who went deep down. Hey, the White Sox are still contenders. If they lose 120 again, they're going to be the best tankers ever. In the worst way.
Because they can't even get the first pick. They get the worst record of all time and get the 10th pick in the draft because they changed the rules. That's the worst tanking of all time.
Hey, I want to shout out a veteran who's still going strong, but this is going to be his last season in the big leagues. So Jesse Chavez is back in camp with the Rangers. Our buddy Jared Sandler, who covers the Rangers on a daily basis, said it's the 4th stint for Chavez with the organization, with the chance of making it his 3rd MLB stint if he makes the team. He's had 2+ MLB stints with 5 MLB teams where he shows back up. And he's like, yeah, I know where to go. I don't need anyone to show me around. 4 times with the Braves, 3 times with the Angels, 2 times with the Rangers, 2 times with the Blue Jays, 2 times with the Cubs. Kratz, he's challenging you in a different way. He is trying to become the maybe next part of FT in the future, where he's like, Kratz has become a superstar. I think the best way for me to develop my media career someday is to just know everyone. And then if I'm away from a team for too long, I better go back because there's going to be new players.
At least fans won't be pissed off like they were pissed off at Nick Madrigal for coming into the team with the wrong bag. Although Jesse, all he needs is his sunglasses and his glove, and he just rolls into camp and he's like, you guys want me to pitch, or are you just going to save me for the season? Like, this dude's been doing it. Maybe sometime when he comes on, we'll tell the story in 2009 spring training about when we got meal money. And with the Pirates, he was kind of a fringe guy, and he did something for some extra meal money. So we got to get Jesse Chavez on here.
Do you know him?
I mean, that was the last time I played with him, but he's one of those dudes that's so chill. Every time you see him, he's just like, hey, what's up, bro?
I want to get him on the show. We haven't talked to him.
I would love to. to. I don't have his number or anything like that, but I'm sure we could reach out.
I don't think he's on socials, so I don't think I can DM him, but we'll work on it. I'm sure, it's not as difficult as Juan Soto's number. I'm sure we can get a hold of Jesse Chavez.
Who did?
We should ask Kahnle if he had talked to Juan Soto, if he had his new number.
Did we ask him about that when we had him on?
I thought we asked him last time.
Oh, did we?
I don't know.
I thought so. Because Tommy didn't talk. He said he doesn't talk to anybody.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He did say that. He said he has no friends except Kratz.
Band member Cody Stavenhagen next. Here we go. Cody Stavenhagen, star of Tiger Territory, joining us right now. Cody, great to see you. And we're going to jump right into business. We've got storylines to hit. And of course, if people want to learn more about the Tigers, podcast, YouTube, the whole deal, check out Cody's show. So let's hit those storylines, please. All right, Cody, here's the plan. Can this team run it back? They had so much magic, but also needed help. The Twins collapse to even make it to the playoffs. So what does the next step look like for them? What about Cy Skubal, back-to-back years? Can it be done? Infield, shuffling. Gleyber Torres second, Colt Keith to first, Spencer Torkelson where? And then young talent for days. Riley Green, Jackson Jobe, full season of him in the big leagues and what that's going to look like. Let's talk it out right now. So, Cody, how do they make this magic happen again when they're not going to sneak up on teams, are they?
No, I think, the Tigers are definitely taken more seriously than they have been in recent years. I think teams know when the Tigers come to town, they're going to see some pretty nasty arms. But the challenge, I think, for the Tigers is going to be making sure that they can sustain last year's pitching performances and score a little bit more runs. And given the way the offseason shook out, they added only one hitter. That was Gleyber Torres. They were in the Alex Bregman sweepstakes until the end. It didn't happen. Now you're left really banking on the development of young players. And look, Riley Green was an all-star last year. He can continue to get better. Colt Keith hit like 285 from mid-May on. He can continue to get better, but it's still going to be a very young lineup. The Tigers will continue to mix and match, but But I really think that's the key, is just how much can they hit? Will they have more guys take a step forward than they do guys take a step backward? You look in center field, Parker Meadows was dynamic down the stretch. Can he produce at anywhere near that level now through 162 game season? Shortstop's a big question mark, but there's some good things brewing here in Detroit, so we'll see how it all shakes out.
Wow. Okay. Speaking of big things shaking out and brewing in Detroit. Tarik Skubal, he won the Cy Young. He's a pretty big deal now. Tracy Morgan's offering for him to come on SNL and all these big deals. Can he do it again? Can Tarik Skubal and Jack Flaherty reunite, become the Wonder Twins, one right-handed, one left-handed? Jack Flaherty have the year he had, and then Skubal win the Cy Young again.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing I feel strongly about is that Skubal can definitely repeat. This guy's really become a well-rounded pitcher. He pounds the strike zone. He throws with plus velocity. He has one of the best changeups in the game. He has a slider that can miss a ton of bats. He has different ways to get hitters out. I think the combination of stuff and command is at the top of the league, and that if he stays healthy, he's going to be one of the best pitchers in the game year in and year out going forward. Jack Flaherty, look, this guy's a really good pitcher, has been for a while. He had some down years and battled some kind of nagging injuries, but really got things together last year. I think Flaherty can continue to be really good. The question is, will he be as good as he was last year? Before the trade deadline, he had a sub-3 ERA. Missed a ton of bats. We saw the fastball kind of fluctuate a little bit down the stretch. He and the Tigers have both talked about like his mechanics got just a little bit out of whack. Maybe wasn't getting as far down the slope as he wanted to, kind of cutting himself off in his delivery. So he's got some things to sort out to make sure he can be consistent throughout the course of the season. But I think Flaherty will continue to be productive, and I think Skubal's a very good bet to repeat as a Cy Young Award winner, if not at least a top candidate.
How's this infield shuffle going to really just be successful for the Tigers? GT, Gleyber Torres, said with the Yankees, I ain't playing third base. I'm a second baseman, so clearly he's a second baseman. Colt Keith signed a nice little extension before ever really being in the big leagues. And now all of a sudden he's a first baseman, and Spencer Torkelson, who they need to produce his 30 home run power, is on the bench on a new team in AAA. What's happening, and could it be something different? Could it end up being something different than that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to now know the concern of the team, you just kind of laid it out. We'll see what happens with Javi Baez at shortstop, but if he's not productive with the bat or if he's not healthy, I worry this could be one of the worst defensive infield in baseball. Third base could be a revolving door. Glaber, he's a nice addition with the stick. I think even in Detroit, people aren't giving him quite as much credit for his steady offensive production. But he led all second basemen in errors and was, I think -11 defensive runs saved last year. Somehow the Tigers got worse with their infield defense by adding Glaber, shifting Colt Keith to first base. Keith, you look at his body type, he's 6'3", 6'4". He's a huge guy. Probably was always going to be best suited for first, but he's never played there before in his life. Spent a lot of time at third before last year. Spent all last year adapting to second, got better. Hey, now you're moving again. Just watching him here early in spring training, it's going to be another adjustment. It's going to take some time, and we don't really quite know how good Colt Keith will be at first base. I think the bat's real, but there's some defensive concerns, and for as good as the pitching is, as a staff, they didn't strike a ton of dudes out last year. They have a lot of sinker ball guys, generate a lot of ground balls, which is good, but the infield defense scares me a little bit. And then Torkelson, it's a huge question mark. If I had to project the roster right now, I think I would put Spencer Torkelson in AAA. But just being around the team these past few days, it seems like the Tigers really believe they could carry him on the bench, even though he'd have to be a first base DH type. He's not playing any other positions. But if his bat gets going good enough that he can start against lefties and be available for late game at bats on a day there's a right-handed starter, the Tigers would love to carry him. If they can get a guy who's that productive with the bat, they would love it. But I think he has a lot to prove in spring training. There's a chance Spencer Torkelson isn't on this team at all.
That's my question before we get to the last storyline is how's he going to handle that? Because he was 1-1. He was super hyped, and we're only a year away from him being an impact bat for them. So how is he handling this? And man, it's amazing how you can fall so quickly in baseball.
Yeah, it's been a tough few years for Torque. This is the guy who came up with a ton of hype, had a really rough rookie season, and then got things together, hit 31 homers. You look at the rest of his stat line, he had some stuff to figure out. Wasn't really hitting for average, didn't get on base a ton, didn't play very good defense. But it was like, okay, if the floor is 30 homers, we can only build from here, right? Well, shows up last year, got off to a really slow start, got sent down, came back up. He was better, but left some to be desired. He said all the right things in camp. He said, look, he gets it. I have to prove that I consistently perform. I've honestly always been impressed by how Spencer Torkelson has handled himself. For me as a reporter, sometimes it's been hard. Like, I like this guy. He's a good guy. You want to have some empathy for a dude who seems to be putting in the work, but baseball's just kind of chewing him up and spitting him out. Um, Tough to know what really goes on in that head. I think there have been times he's probably gotten a little bit too far inside his own head, both at the plate, both maybe worrying about external factors. In a way, maybe like now expectations are lowered. So could that be a good thing for him? That might be something to consider.
Okay, makes sense. Well, he was a guy that was supposed to be a star for the Tigers. Now they have some guys. Riley Green, I would consider a star. He's probably the most known guy on the Tigers behind Scooble as a position player. But can any of the other guys take the next step? Jackson Jobe, Young, Parker Meadows, whoever it needs to be. Can any of these guys fulfill their potential? Because they have a ton of young talent on this Tigers. We haven't even mentioned the bullpen guys that came in and dominated for the last month. So can these guys take the next step and continue and not have like sophomore slumps, I guess?
Right. Yeah, that's the blessing and curse of a team this young. It's why I thought they needed another veteran impact bat. There are some major question marks. Like I said, I think Colt Keith could be a guy who takes that step, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Parker Meadows is really dynamic. But third base, Jace Young has a chance to win a spot as a rookie. What is he going to do? Where do we even set expectations? Hard to say. We haven't mentioned Kerry Carpenter yet, who absolutely crushes right-handed pitching. Is he going to face lefties more? How much can you play him in the outfield? These are all questions. Trey Sweeney, I see, is on the screen right now. Is he even going to lock down that opening day role? When you have a young team like this, I feel like this is what normally happens. A couple of these guys meet expectations and a couple of them don't. That's probably what I would expect from the Tigers. The question is, can they win 86 games again? Is there a 90-win version of this team? I think the floor is a lot higher for this year's Tigers, but you kind of need all these young guys to achieve the best versions of themselves to be a 90-plus win team, and that just doesn't happen very often in baseball.
All right, on your way out here, Cody, I'm going to have you promote Tiger territory so we can show the promo, but also have you tell us about your friends on the show and maybe pick your favorite episode, like a guest episode, because you've probably had at least several guests here. I'm thinking about a couple in my head, but I'll let you take it over.
Well, yeah, you guys can go check out Tiger Territory. We are doing 3 times a week now that we are in season. My co-host Kieran Steckley and former Tigers outfielder Austin Jackson. He's a great time. You got to check out his stories if you haven't already. It's hilarious. And if you're looking for a starter episode with Tarek Skubal, right? One of the things that's been awesome about covering Skubal as he's gotten more successful, some guys kind of retreat into themselves. They shy away from the attention. Skubal's almost like opened up with his personality. So he's both a funny and insightful interview. We talked to him for 30 plus minutes a couple weeks ago. So hope you guys will go check it out.
Yeah, that's perfect. Also, broadcaster Jason Benetti's been on. Parker Meadows was on just recently. So go check it out. Cody, great to see you. Enjoy Lakeland.
Hard to do, but thanks.
Do your best. Do your best.
Oh,
FT fan, be right back. We'll do a For the People segment. We will take hot takes. BetMGM futures. We're going through player props. Zach Gallen, 163 and a half strikeouts. Will he go over or under that figure? AJ Pierzynski, you're up.
I'm going to go over that. He had 156 last year, but the two previous, he had 220, 192. He's a free agent at the end of the year. I'm going over that.
I, too, am going over that. Are you going over that? Yeah, there you go. I mean,
For the
he
exact
missed
same
some
reasons AJ
starts.
said it.
Yeah, he missed a few starts last year, too. So I feel like a lot of this is just playing the health game. Some guys are going to miss some time, but, man, Gallen's been pretty damn durable. Yeah, and he's getting close to free agency. He's got a lot in the arsenal. Feels like the kind of guy who sometimes will just switch up the game plan and it makes him even better. I'm not too concerned about him. He knows he needs to punch tickets too. You know what I'm saying, Kratz? Like he's very self-aware of what's coming ahead, what gets valued in free agency. He's going to get his share of punch outs.
He's going to be motivated. He's going to be very motivated, and it's going to be a good team. So they're going to keep him out there if he's pitching well. And if you're worried about injuries, don't even go with any of these props, because that's equal for anybody. Zach Gallen's going to be out there because it's his free agent year, so he'll pitch through some stuff. He'll get them strikeouts.
Yeah, 148 innings last year. The year before 210. The year before 184. I'm good here. Yeah, go for it. And if you want to challenge Kratz in poker, you can do so. $1.5 million guaranteed if you're in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or Michigan from now until March 2nd. It's the BetMGM Poker Winter Online Championships, 21 trophy events. So go get after it, FT fam. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Coming back with hot takes. We put out the question on our Instagram. It's at Foul Territory Show. And we've selected some hot takes.
Hope they're better than last time. Hope they're better than last.
Not bold predictions, hot takes. For the people. All right, let's talk about the question that we posed on some FT social accounts and give you some hot takes. We did bold predictions yesterday. We're doing power rankings tomorrow, by the way. But hot takes. Gavin will start. He said the Padres and Giants will be closer than people think.
Closer to what? Closer to what? Each other?
That's
closer
the
to
take.
each other in the standings? I mean, what is it?
Could be
They're closer
anything.
to what? Closer to each other in the standings? I mean, what are they going to be
Closer
They're
to
not
the
gonna-
moon.
I mean, sure, they're going to be closer to. I don't know. I don't know. Kratz, you take this one because I don't know what they're going to be closer to.
They mean
I
the
assume he
Dodgers to
means
first.
close in the standing. I think they're going to be close.
They're going to be close. They're probably going to be close to each other.
Oh, those two will be closer. I thought they meant they'll be closer to the Dodgers, but that doesn't make sense because then they
No.
would have said the Diamondbacks. So I think the Padres and Giants are pretty close. I don't think that's too hot. I mean, if the Giants perform a little above expectations and the Padres go a little below, they're going to end up in a similar spot. I don't see it, but it could happen.
It's hot. It's like a lukewarm take. Lukewarm.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I'm up next. Dodgers don't win the World Series. And the reason I brought this up is that we haven't seen back-to-back winners in a long, long time, quarter century. And I was on my friend Jody Mack's radio show last weekend. Jody McDonald's been on for a long time. It's a solo show talking about the Dodgers. And I'm like, but you take the field, right? Like betting odds, you take the field, not the Dodgers. He was like, oh, no way. It's like Dodgers are winning the World Series. I'm like, whoa, okay. So what do you guys do? Dodgers or the field, AJ?
I always take the field. But by the way,
Yeah.
the fact that we have Scott Braun Tired
Oh.
Wednesday. It's usually tired Tuesday, but it's tired Wednesday.
We don't even know what you
know
said
what's
because you
funny?
froze.
Exactly.
And that was the best part of it.
Exactly. The best thing ever just happened because it hasn't happened in a while. But AJ, you had like a 3-second glitch right when you were in attack mode. So
Yep.
the world didn't get it.
The internet saved Scott Braun. He went, Scott, you know what? And nothing. It was tremendous timing. Thank you, internet. Man, I gotta take the field. I don't even think I'd blink at it. I take the field. Easy.
That's why I was surprised. I was like, Jody, really? He said it with such confidence. No, I would not take the field.
It's so
like,
hard
okay.
to win the World Series. It is so hard. They're going to be a great regular season team. It is hard to win the World Series. It's hard to make it through all the rounds of the playoffs that we have in baseball with as many games as there is. It's difficult to do.
Yeah, it's a tournament that creates upsets too. So keep that in mind. You're right. There's some people saying that it was a soft take. You're right. It was. I guess it was a soft take at the time. It was the night that I was on that show. I threw it out there. I'll take that one. It's a soft take. But guess what? There's also plenty of Dodger fans that watch this show. They're going to now hate me for the rest of the year. How dare I say 29 other teams might beat their team? But
we hate all those teams too.
We hate and love you all.
Hold on. I'm going to say what I was going to say now earlier. The fact that we have Scott Braun giving his own takes as a hot take is tired. It's normally tired Tuesday. It's tired Wednesday that Scott put his own take in there. All right, let's just establish that.
Well, the reason I did it is because you guys didn't
I know, because you're on a radio station, blah, blah, blah.
No, not that. You didn't reply to the Instagram that we came up with. So our feelings were hurt. And so the one.
Why would I reply to our? It's not. People get my takes all the time. Nobody wants to hear Scooter Brown's takes on the Dodgers. This was for the fans, Scott. This is for the fans, okay? We're here for the fans, not for you.
Yeah, it's called Scott For the People. I'm one of them. I didn't play.
He wanted to say his own name.
One per minute. Thank you. After Braun, we had Splat, who said Nick Lodolo wins Cy Young, Reds win the Central. I think Reds win the Central is lukewarm, but Lodolo winning Cy Young, I would say, is pretty hot, AJ.
Yeah, it's also unrealistic.
Why?
Because he can't stay healthy. I love Nick Lodolo. This dude's filthy, nasty, dirty, whatever you want to call him. He's got Tarek School potential. But gosh darn, I need to see him pitch 30 times in a season, and then I'll get excited. Maybe Tito can come in and change it. But man, for me, this is one of the hottest takes of all time, because if Nick Lodolo wins the Cy Young, the Reds are definitely making the playoffs and winning the Central.
Oh, there's hotter takes coming up, but
more than just the playoffs. And I talked to Derek Johnson. He said he has had a full health offseason with no foot injury that he had to work out through. It's a chance, but he wins the Cy Young. This team they're doing what the Tigers did last year. They're pushing it. The best teams in the National League to win the National League for sure.
Yeah. All right, two more. Adam, A's win the AL West. The Sacramento A's win the AL West. That's pretty hot. I mean, for them to compete is one thing, but you think they have a shot at the division?
It's hot.
It's hot.
It's a hot take.
AJ, hot take or lukewarm?
I think they have a chance because the Astros are going to be down. We don't know what we're going to get from the Rangers because there's some of their banged up guys again, and the Mariners are the Mariners. So I think the A's have made some nice moves. I think they actually do have a chance. So I wouldn't say. I mean, this is a warm take. I wouldn't go hot, but I think they do have a chance.
Okay. And then lastly, Bill.
And they're going to have fans behind them in Sacramento because the Sacramento people are going to come out and support them. Not that the true Oakland fans didn't. But it's going to feel different because they're in a 15,000-seat stadium with 15,000 people there probably every night.
Yeah, and even though Manfred again said yesterday 2028, there's probably going to be people that are scanning tickets at the gate going, be nice, maybe they'll stay. All right, one more. Bill says, the White Sox will win a World Series before the Cubs and the Rangers make the playoffs. That is sizzling.
This is idiotic. Whoever wrote, I don't know, Bill Sportsman guy, you're an idiot. Sorry. Because the White Sox ain't winning the World Series in the next 5 years, the Cubs shouldn't make the playoffs this year, and the Rangers are favored to win the West. So, I mean, come on. Before they make the playoffs, we're talking about playoffs?
He was pandering to his best, most favorite FT host. He wanted AJ to butcher his name. He wanted you to butcher his name. He knew you were going to say Bill Person Sports Guy, whatever his name is.
That was good. That was good. That was the perfect way to finish.
That's an idiotic take. That's idiotic.
That's a hot take. That is what a hot take is.
Hot takes and idiotic takes are different. Like, you can have volcanic, a hot take without being idiotic.
Right. That was volcanic, nuclear. You're insane. But if it happens, we'll bring this back up, and I don't know.
If that happens, I'll gladly eat crow on that.
Yeah.
Gladly. Are you kidding me? They win the World Series before the Cubs and Rangers make the playoffs? Like, one of them's going to make it this year, if not both.
Bill, we will find you, and we will take you out to a steak dinner if that happens. And if you don't owe us anything, thanks for the content for a minute. And a couple other takes from the chat. Our superstar super chatter ref said Yankees will win the World Series this year. They have unfinished business with LA. I could see it, but ref, that ain't a hot take. The Yankees made it to the World Series last year.
Now, if he would have said the Marlins were going to win the World Series this year because they were mad, that would be a really hot take. It'd also be like Bill Sportsman guy.
That's an idiotic take. That's not hot.
It is.
We gotta specify.
True.
MJ.
And by the way, Ref, I know.
Have a chance. Yeah, go ahead.
I know Ref's listening. Didn't he go to the players thing last night? So I hope he had a great time.
Yes, he did. And
was that last night?
Yeah, but he met someone. What was it now? Someone told me earlier that he met someone that was buddies with you and had a good combo. You saw that, Kratz?
Oh, Mike Myers. Yeah.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, I love Mike Myers. We did fantasy football together one year. I love Mike Myers. But,
cool.
Contrary to what people say, I'm not as bad as people think. But I'll say this. I want to know how it was. What was the thing? The
Playmakers Classic.
Playmakers Classic. That's what it was.
That is correct.
He won tickets. He won tickets from us and got to go. So I want to hear about it.
That is a good call. MJ said Angels have a chance to make the playoffs.
I mean, everyone has a chance. Ooh. So you're saying there's a chance.
I like
if it's a hot take, you have to say the Angels will make the playoffs. Then that's hot.
Yeah.
There you go. And someone else, I can't find who it was, brought up that they think, that was our account. I have a freeze button for AJ, like Buffalo Wild Wings commercial where you're like,
Scott wishes.
He can't.
Producer lady sometimes wishes.
That she had one for Scott.
And she has one for AJ. Oh, last one, AJ.
That's right.
Hey, I can't help it. I can't help it if our guests say something good right at the end and I got to add something to it because, I mean, I think it adds stuff to the conversation.
Yeah, for the love of the interview.
I agree.
Ooh, here's a good hot take on the way out. Ryan said Vladdy gets traded to the Giants at the deadline and the Giants make the playoffs because of it. I don't know if that's hot. That's creative, though.
I like that awesome take. I don't know if I would have picked the Giants, but I think I like that take. And then the Giants can sign him and keep him.
Yeah,
he ain't gonna want to hit there.
There's their star.
He ain't gonna get in there, but
no,
there he is.
They have cash.
Like, we're gonna to San Francisco, and you're gonna hit 4 homers in the second half. Tomorrow's guest list is fire. Buck Showalter, Katie Woo, Heath Bell.
What? Old Heath Bell. Little Padre, little Friars territory.
Is he going to slide into the interview?
Ask him. I mean, he's still got it. He's got a lot of personality. I listen to him on Friar Territory. He is good. The Padres show, the new one that we've got. Of course, Katie Stars Cardinal Territory. We got a lot for Buck Showalter to cover, of course, with some spring training drama. We'll get a little Mets talk, of course. All right, let's show this Paul Skenes footage because he just doesn't feel like his rookie year was good enough. So he's experimenting with 2 new pitches this spring, a cutter and a running 2-seamer. We have the 2-seamer footage, I believe. Adam Frazier was stepping in for a little live BP.
If not, we can. We know how it goes.
No, and then O'Neal Cruz. The Frazier one might not have been working, but it's just nice to see ball.
By the way, can we just discuss what's on the back of the Pirates catcher? Like, is that what MLB came out with this year? We're going to put this logo gigantic so everyone knows that they're MLB. What are we doing?
That is ginormous. That's like some of the minor leaguers I played with, the tattoo that they got on their back before they made it to the big leagues.
Javi Baez has one right here on the back of his neck.
Yeah, but he's a big leaguer. That's way different.
Shout out New Era Kratz hats.
I got with some dudes that did that.
Yeah, Kratz hats with a minute to spare. I feel like I know what we've got today. Nice.
Maybe one of my favorite. I mean, we have 2 Tigers on the show today. Tommy Kahnle, Cody Stavenhagen. I mean, this is producer lady's favorite logo is a Tiger logo. I think she likes this one.
Yeah, she uses that as an emoji.
Mm-hmm. The old school one, not this one, but it's similar to this one.
Yes. By the way, before we go, I didn't get to mention this the other day, but prayers to Bobby Jenks and his family. He's going through some stuff. I kind of knew about it before. It was told that we didn't really going to talk about it, but he's going through some cancer battles. So Bobby, praying for you. Hope you get better, pal, for you and your family.
Yeah, thinking about you, Bobby. There's a story about it if you want to learn more about the fight he's going through right now, and he's in Portugal in the hospital out there. So thinking about you, sending thoughts and prayers to the family, Bobby Jenks, and we'll see everyone tomorrow.